Oh, you want me to sit in the end? Yeah.
What a day it has been. Thank you all for being here. We are starting the final session of the day. This is really a call for ocean action, which is a continuation of the theme that we had with this remarkable set of panels that we had concluded just now. We have really a tremendous number of initiatives to talk about. Peter, would you please come and sit here? Yes, yeah. We have a tremendous list of speakers, and before I say anything, I would like to first welcome Peter de Menocal, President of the Woodsole Oceanographic Institution, and Margaret Leinen, Director and Vice Chancellor of Scripps Institution of Oceanography, to offer a few welcoming remarks, and also, with the help of our guests, join in formally launching the Ocean Pavilion. Peter and Margaret, please.
I think we've done a good job already of formally launching the Ocean Pavilion. Thank you, Rama, and thank you everyone for joining us this evening and for everything you do on behalf of our ocean planet. It's an honor for us here at the Woodsole Oceanographic to serve the ocean science community in this way. We've had a remarkable group of participating organizations this year, a very large group, as Rama mentioned, and of course the purpose of this group is not just to put on a pavilion, but really to represent an alliance of many of the leading ocean science organizations on the planet. Collectively, we have the ability and the opportunity, and I would say the obligation, to move the needle on some of the most important challenges that exist at the intersection of the ocean and climate research. This group came together this year to issue the Dubai Ocean Declaration, and I'm pleased to say that as of this morning, fully 123 organizations from around the globe have signed the declaration, a truly remarkable accomplishment. And I will close with a brief quote from the declaration. We call on the parties to adopt measures individually and collectively to enhance protection of the ocean, starting with an expansion of the observational capacity that is the foundation of the scientific evidence to guide progress. With it, society may better understand and more fully mitigate the risks posed by climate change to the ocean on which we all depend. These goals are far bigger than any one institution or any country or party to the conference. To accomplish them, we need the same kind of collaborative energy that made this pavilion possible. And in part of this pavilion and the incredible panels we've seen today here already over the past couple of days, I'm confident that together we will rise to meet this challenge. And now I'm pleased to hand over the microphone to Margaret.
Thanks, Peter. How many of you were at the Paris COP? The Paris COP was the first time when the Ocean Climate Platform scheduled a whole day of events focused on the ocean. And during that wonderful day, when Monsignor also spoke, and Peter, I think you spoke as well, so full circle, we had the extraordinary experience of being able to talk directly to the COP as a community focused on the ocean. And one of the amazing things that happened at the very end of the COP, in part as a result of that, was the first time the ocean appeared in the language, the negotiated language, in the chapeau. At that time, we talked about wanting to be able to have a presence always in the COP. And with your help, we have made that possible now. And Peter and I and all of the rest of the partners want to thank you for your commitment to bringing the ocean to the COP negotiation and the work of all of you to actually get the negotiations so far along. And we heard several really important treaties and really important declarations that are going to come out of this COP directly related to the ocean. That is a gift from all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter and Margaret. What we would like to do is we thought we would have the ability to cut the ribbon, but we could not bring scissors through the customs. And therefore we brought, of course, several students from both Scripps and Hui, and so they are going to be joined by all our distinguished speakers to unfurl this. Margaret, where are you?
Right behind
Oh,
you.
right here, okay. And please, join, please stand up and just come to this point and then... Please sit down, yes. So we have heard from the organizing institutions, the Woodsole Oceanographic Institution and the Scripps. What I'm particularly pleased is that we have a lead sponsor in Bloomberg Philanthropies, and we have, as Peter mentioned, about 34 partners of this Ocean Pavilion. And you have seen the program from last year to this year, and you see the crowds, and this has really struck a nerve. And in fact, Prince Albert of Monaco is very fond of saying that finally we have a home for oceans in the climate negotiations. We're also joined by American Geophysical Union, Avatar Alliance Foundation, OceanX, and Ocean Policy Research Institute as major partners, and then we have a number of others as well. So what I thought I would do right now is invite our first speaker, Patti Harris. She is the Chief Executive Officer of the Bloomberg Philanthropies and a major champion for the ocean work, and it's a great pleasure to work with Melissa and her colleagues in bringing this pavilion together. Patti, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Rama. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here tonight. Leaders, partners, advocates, everyone committed to preserving the health of our ocean. As we've all heard this week, the world has come together at COP28, not just to take stock of the climate challenge, but to take action. At Bloomberg Philanthropies, with Mike Bloomberg's leadership, our presence at this year's summit and our partnership with the UN Secretary General and the COP28 presidency focuses on a few critical ways we can drive action. Supporting mayors and other local leaders who can act quickly and creatively, accelerating the transition from coal and other fossil fuels to clean energy, and mobilizing more financing and investment for developing economies. Making progress on each of these areas will be vital to the climate fight, and we've taken important steps and encouraging steps forward. But today, I want to talk about another critical pillar of our global climate efforts, one I know we're all very invested in, embracing the power of nature, especially our ocean, to help fight climate change. Science has shown us more and more clearly just how powerful a role the ocean plays in staving off the impacts of rising emissions. Thanks to the world-class work, Thank you. From the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute and the Scripps Institution of Oceanography and others, we know far more about the ocean's role in absorbing huge amounts of heat and carbon. At the same time, we've also learned more about the ocean's potential to accelerate the climate crisis. If we don't defend it, there's a growing threat of dramatic sea level rise, ocean acidification, and a breakdown of ocean currents, which would have devastating impacts on our planet. So, the ocean is a tremendous ally, but it is also under siege, and it's up to all of us to step up to protect it. That's why for a decade at Bloomberg Philanthropies, we've worked to strengthen ocean conservation, improve fisheries management, and preserve coral reefs. We've continued to scale and refine our work, and we're now laser focused on helping to achieve the UN's ambitious goal of protecting 30% of the world's oceans by 2030. Like other strategies in the climate fight, achieving this goal and protecting the ocean will take an enormous collaborative effort. No single government body or community organization or philanthropic funder can do it alone. This idea is central to Bloomberg Philanthropies' approach because we always believe in engaging with strong partners who can help us achieve more together than we ever could apart. And by the way, every foundation does not feel this way, so we're very proud of our belief in partnership. Okay. That kind of a collaboration is especially important for a challenge as complex and stopping climate change. So today, I'm very pleased to announce a major effort that aims to bring the ocean into the heart of the climate fight, made possible by an incredible group of philanthropic partners. Together, we're creating a new fund to invest more than $250 million in ocean-based solutions. Yes, it's very exciting, in ocean-based solutions that fight climate change. The effort, which we're calling the Ocean Resilience Climate Alliance, or more simply, ORCA, is supported by our great partners, including the Bomber Group, Builders Vision, the Packard Foundation, the Moore Foundation, the Oak Foundation, Ocean Kind, and the Rockefeller Brothers Fund. Let's all give a round of applause for everyone who... Over the next 5 years, we will invest in 7 key areas with the potential to make a tremendous difference in tackling climate change. We'll help scale high-impact ocean-based measures that reduce emissions, such as offshore wind power. We'll work to decarbonize the shipping industry, a major contributor to global emissions. We'll invest in new protections for the Arctic that preserve summer sea ice. We'll expand marine habitat restoration and conservation, and we'll support more research on the ocean's role in capturing carbon. We'll scale community-led efforts in the Global South, and we'll advance diplomatic efforts that bring ocean solutions into the conversation around climate action. Across each of these areas, we'll invest in strong partners who are working closely with local communities to drive change, and will prioritize solutions poised to make the greatest impact on both the health of marine ecosystems and the strength of the communities that rely on them. The challenge we're facing is complex, and as we've all seen, the climate crisis touches every industry and ecosystem. But we believe the ocean has a critical role to play in the solution, and by working together and investing in ocean-based efforts that fight climate change, we really can make an enormous difference. So thank you very much. It's great to be with you, and see you all in Nice in 2025.
Thank you very much, Patti, for that wonderful statement and the much-needed support to what we're all trying to do. Another round of applause to Patti and to Bloomberg Philanthropies, please. Our next speaker is no stranger to Ocean Pavilion or to Ocean. It's Monica Medina. She was Assistant Secretary of State for Ocean, Environment, and Science in the State Department of the United States government. And she had the distinction of not only being that, but now she's the president of the World Conservation Society. But importantly, she played a stellar role in the BBNJ agreement, that was concluded, and you have heard many speakers in the previous session talk about how important it is to bring that into force, and a great deal of credit goes to Monica. And one other point about her, she was here, not here, in Sharm el-Sheikh at the first of the Ocean Pavilion and participated in the opening of that pavilion. Thank you, Monica, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be back here again. I feel a little bit like I should be getting the baton from you, Peter. Is it there? Okay, well. And I always feel at home in the ocean community. It's such a warm, wonderful community of advocates. I see my old boss, Enrique Sala, in the audience, and so many other people that I've worked with here. It's been great to be back. I want to salute you all for this wonderful pavilion, for bringing all these issues to the forefront. Yes, indeed, it has been a memorable and momentous year for oceans. In some ways, very discouraging, with ocean temperatures so high, soaring off the coast of the United States, seeing so many other parts of the world struggling with sea level rise. But on the good side, we do now have a pathway to help conserve 30% of the ocean on the planet. We do now have a momentous agreement. And I will say it was something to be there when the UN decided, when the countries of the world, all of them came together to say the oceans matter enough that we have to protect them. So 30% of the planet, I hope, will at some point very soon be under the protection, and we will be able to share the benefits all around the world of the oceans. And that's a momentous thing, and it makes this year stand out among all of the things that happened this year. It's a wonderful thing. And I'm just so pleased to be here now in my role as president and CEO of the Wildlife Conservation Society, because I am one of the Bloomberg partners now. I get to turn all of that ambition that we worked on so hard in the State Department and so many other diplomats around the world to deliver the BBNJ treaty. Now I get to help see it get into force, go into action, and make protected areas. And I'm so pleased that at Wildlife Conservation Society, we've helped Papua New Guinea make 2 new protected areas just in the last month. And the Republic of Congo make an important protected area earlier this year. And I hope very soon in New York City, we will make a new protected area called the Hudson Canyon just off the coast of the New York Bight. So it's great to be here, and I'm now off to the Congo to hopefully help celebrate some trees as well. But it's wonderful to be here, and I'll be back over and over again here at the Ocean Pavilion to help you all celebrate all the wonderful accomplishments. There is no climate solution without ocean solutions. There are no ocean solutions without climate solutions. Thank you, John Kerry, for saying that, because it is so true. Thank you very much for letting me be a part of this, and it's an honor. Thank you all for everything you do, and thank you to our funders and our partners. And Peter, for all your work in conserving the oceans. I will be in Nice and beyond.
Excellent. Thank you, Monica. One of the announcements that she wanted to make, but she did not, was that she's going to join us as a lead partner next year. All right. Our next speaker is Françoise Gaill. She is, again, she was in the panel before, and then you all know her well, and she was a senior executive in CNRS, and now she's president of the Ocean Sustainability Foundation and a major advocate for international panel on ocean sustainability. Françoise.
Thank you, and I am very glad to be here with you today, especially with the 2 organizers of this Ocean Pavilion, because I think that if we have something in the landscape about climate and ocean, you are big actors of that. And when I was a deep sea biologist, I am a deep sea biologist, and when I start as a PhD, as a scientist, it was first with Woodsole, And the second one, it was with the Scripps. So for me, I have the parents here of my career, which are very important for me because the ocean can be approached in different manners, but ocean science needs to go at sea. And we have to take care today about the ocean change and the way in which we will look at the ocean behavior. Because just recall that to know, we have also to understand, to act, we have also to know. But to know and to understand, we have to feel. We have the rationality, but also the sensibility, the feeling is very important. And so to go with the ships at sea is almost important in the future. I think that in France, we have a lot of ships with Ifremer, but all the countries have not the same type of device to learn and to observe the sea. The second thing that I would like to say is that today we are in a landscape also relative to the knowledge. The scientists are identified to be the best actors to tell to other people what we have to think. But to act, it's another job. And what we want to do with IPOS, which is the International Panel for Ocean Sustainability, it's in the future to be able to make and to recreate the link between those who know, the scientists, and those who act, the policymakers. But I think that the scientists have a tip of knowledge which is not the whole knowledge. And we have also to co-construct all the things that we have to do with other actors, which are those who are indigenous people or those who are experts of some aspect. And the difference of culture is also very important. And I think that in the future, and I know that your institution are thinking about that, the position of the scientist will evolve. It has been to evolve. And so this is why I would like to say to you that I would like to invite to participate to the International Panel for Ocean Sustainability, and especially I would like to congratulate you about your action and what we will do in the future for the ocean. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Françoise. All the best with the initiatives that you have, and we look forward to continuing to work with you in preparing for the UN-Ocean Conference in Nice. Our final speaker needs no introduction. None of them need introduction. If anybody needs introduction, it's me. But the final speaker... The final speaker is Ambassador Peter Thomson. He's UN Secretary General Special Envoy for the Ocean. And he is indefatigable in terms of his energy and the kind of travel schedule that keeps in keeping this issue front and center on, with governments, with research institutions, with non-governmental organizations and whatnot. Peter, you're not only a friend to the ocean, but friend to these institutions that partnered in bringing the Ocean Pavilion. It is a great honor to have you speak. The floor is yours.
Thanks very much. I need these because my voice almost failed me in the last one from this podium 10 minutes ago. Hey, guys, welcome, everybody. I see that it's a different audience to the last one, so I'm going to repeat something I said half an hour ago from this podium. First of all, to Scripps and to Woods Hole, fantastic that the energy that you put into this and the mustering, Rama, that you do of getting all these partners together. It's, we can't do without this now. It's a central part of the COPs. And why is that? I've said to many of you that I can't stand that carnival out there. It drives me crazy, people having their photographs taken as if we're having a party at the edge of the world, I don't like that stuff, but what I do love is the joy and the utility of the networking that goes on when we all get together here. I mean, you do a year's worth of work just in a couple of days here by us all getting together. And this is our home. You've created a home for us at the COPs, and long may it last. I guess our big challenge now is to get the next COP host to understand that nature is not something at the periphery of your conference. Nature should be dead center. When you come in through the front door, you should be confronted by the nature pavilion, not be pushed off to the furthest edge that they could find. The other thing I want to say is that none of us can do this alone. Governments, I used to be in government most of my life, I suppose, and academia. We can't do without it. How can we make our decisions without good science? Private sector, you all know that they have to be there, and the NGOs, they've provided the energy. They got us going back in before the SDG 14 came into existence. But the philanthropies, my God, they're really stepping up for the ocean now. And you just heard, fantastic announcement. Thank you so much for that, Patti. And I listened with care to your list, and it's a fabulous list. It's very well thought out. So, philanthropies, again, it's all about partnership. We're all in this together. Why? Because we're trying to save the place of our species on this planet, and that's very much under threat at the moment, and that's not hyperbole. But I won't go into that because my wife says that I'm sort of driving everybody to suicide. So I won't give you any bad news, just good news. In fact, I'll quote from a Time op-ed that was published this week. I haven't seen it, but apparently it's been published. Which I wrote, and basically saying that over the last 2 years, there's this amazing positive wave of ocean action which has swept around the planet. It's over the last 2 years, and it's still sweeping on. And it's a wave that hope can ride, right? Hope can ride that wave because it's taking us to amazing places, and it's improving humanity's relationship with the ocean. And if all those things that we've achieved in the last 2 years, if somebody had said that to me 5 years ago, I would have said, no, you're being a bit optimistic. But you think of BB&J, you think of the Global Biodiversity Framework, combine those two, and now we have the tool almost there. We've got to ratify and implement it, of course, but we have the tool to create vast marine protected areas out in the high seas. We're just going to cover the high seas with protection. Rather than it being a place to go out and exploit, there'll be a few places where you can still do fishing, but most of it will be marine protected areas. We've got to fight for that. If you look at what's happening in Nairobi, you've got this plastic pollution treaty. You can be cynical or you can be positive about it. And what I say to everybody involved in that, and I'm not directly involved in the negotiations, but I speak at a lot of meetings on the periphery of it, which is that this cannot be an accommodation of the plastic industry. It's not just about, telling the oil and gas industry how to do it a little bit better. It's about replacing plastics with nature-friendly alternatives. And there is wording in the treaty. There's a clause for that, but that has to be amplified. There's another clause in the treaty about what plastic is doing to the human body, how it's changing our species as we speak. It's going on. Talk to any doctor and they'll tell you that plastic is poisoning our children. And we just don't have the evidence yet. It's like the tobacco wars. We didn't have the evidence. While we were all still smoking and people were telling us it causes lung cancer and heart disease, so maybe, So that's where we are with plastics. So as I say, this can't be a cozy accommodation for the plastic industry. It has to be a way out of it. And then when we get to the fisheries subsidies at the WTO in Geneva, don't imagine this is a small thing. This is $20 to $30 billion of public monies which are diverted towards subsidizing industrial fishing fleets to go out and catch diminishing stocks of fish in the ocean. Where's the logic in that? Anyway, that's our money. Take it back. Put the money where it's supposed to go, which is into things like marine protected areas. But there's lots more good stuff that I could go on about. And this wave is going to sweep on, and we have to be part of the momentum. And, of course, it goes through to Nice. I should mention Athens, the Our Ocean Conference. I should mention in Barcelona, the UN Decade of Ocean Science meeting in April. These are all great things that are happening. I should mention Costa Rica. There's a high-level ocean meeting happening in Costa Rica in June that I'm sure many of you will be at. So, I'm not going to get into the bad stuff. I'll just keep going on the good stuff. And, the good stuff is that, we have this responsibility and people are catching on to it. The fact that it's all about intergenerational justice and the moral imperative of doing this work. It's no longer just about, is it a good idea or not? It's actually now people realize a moral imperative. And that's where I want to cut to something that I said in the last meeting that was in here a few minutes ago. And it's a quote from my boss, the Secretary General. And he actually asked me to come and represent him here this afternoon and speak to you all. So hello from Antonio Guterres. He had another meeting he had to go to, unfortunately. But what the Secretary General said in his tweet, which I was just reading a little while ago, was, I have a message for the fossil fuel company leaders. Do not double down on an obsolete business model. Lead the transition to renewables. Make no mistake, the road to climate sustainability is also the only viable pathway to economic sustainability of your companies. Now, I thought that was pretty good stuff, and one of the reasons it resounded with me and why I've repeated it at this meeting is when the first speaking engagement I had from this podium 2 days ago, I was telling the audience, I am so angry, which is not a bad thing. Anger is an energy. And the reason I was so angry was not the logistics of trying to get in here, the 2-hour queue that had stood in the sun, not that. It was the fact that I had read that the International Energy Agency in Paris had put out a report last week that the oil and gas industry is only contributing 1% towards the transition to renewable energy. Okay? 1%. Now, if you go through the airports of the world, if you go down the highways of the world, you see these billboards, and you think these big oil companies are the ones that are leading the transition to renewable energy. It's baloney. 1% is all they're doing. Now, why does that make me angry? Because at the same time, we read that they made this year, if you put them all together, $5 trillion worth of profits. Profits. So they're going to give to their shareholders so they can spend it on their super yachts and golf clubs. Okay? So the reason I'm angry is I have granddaughters, and you guys, some of you have kids and grandchildren as well. Are their profits more important than the lives, because my grandchildren will be alive at the end of the century, are their profits more important than the lives of my grandchildren and of yours as well? Ask that question. If they say their profits are more important, I've got something serious to do about it. And that is about governments, that's about, the genius of our species is innovation and sharing, right? That's what got us from the caveman days to the space age. And it becomes more intense during times of stress, like war or something. Innovation and sharing. So in a situation like this, we're approaching, one of the greatest crises of human history. So innovation and sharing have really got to come to the fore. And what is sharing? Sharing, as far as the oil companies are concerned, and their $5 trillion profits, is take away all their subsidies, immediately governments, and tax the hell out of them. And put those taxes towards where the money is needed, which is ocean science. Why do we need that? Because we've got some very important decisions to make by about 2030 on things like geoengineering of the planet. We're going to have to make those decisions on the basis of good ocean science, because that's the majority of the planet is ocean. And we're going to have to put that money towards a sustainable blue economy. Why? Because the sustainable blue economy is where the future of our children and grandchildren lies, in their health, in their energy, in their food supplies. And so that's what I would do with the, let's take about 80% of that $5 trillion per annum and put it to the right purposes. So I think that's sort of generally what the Secretary General would have said to you this afternoon had he been here. So thank you so much. And again, to academia and to philanthropy, brilliant what you're doing. Thank you.
Before I close the meeting, I want to first of all thank our partners, all 34 of them. Many of you are here. Some of them could not get in, they're outside. Without you, this pavilion would not have been possible. Second, working with Scripps and Margaret and her staff, sure you're all very, 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 very familiar with because of the number of emails that she sends on a daily basis. Without her and my colleagues in Woodsoul Oceanographic Institution, we would not have had this opportunity. But there are other guests as well that I want to thank. Many of you represent your governments and some of you are ministers, but I want to particularly acknowledge my good friend, Adil Najam. He's the president of the World Wildlife Fund International, and he is here. And of course, another friend, Ashok, from the French government. So a number of other friends. And I don't want to name all of them here, but really thank you for being here. And I want you to join me in another round of applause to our panelists. And to particularly Patti Harris and the Bloomberg Philanthropies for their wonderful announcement. And now it's my pleasure to invite all of you for a reception which is jointly hosted by the Global Fund for Coral Reefs and the Ocean Pavilion. It's taking place right outside. Thank you very much.